Okay, we've all been there, right? The group project that just completely spirals into chaos. Well, today on The Explainer, we are going to crack the code on group communication. We're going to give you the tools to turn that chaos into some serious collaboration. Let's just start with a feeling I think every single one of us can relate to. That sinking sensation when a group project starts to go completely off the rails. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Missed deadlines, one person doing all the work, endless arguments about nothing. Yeah, it's a pretty universal experience. But here's the thing, there's a method to all that madness, and we're going to turn that frustration you feel into a practical toolkit starting right now by really digging into the core of the group project problem. All right, let's dive right in. To really get started, we need to get our definitions straight because, not all collections of people are created equal. There is a huge, fundamental difference between just being a group and being a high-functioning team. So, a group? Well, that's the basic formula. You've got people working towards some common goal. But a team? A team is something more. It's a special kind of group where every member brings these unique, complementary skills to the table, and they all share this powerful collective identity. Think of it this way. Every single team is a group, but not every group actually manages to become a team. And this image, it just perfectly captures that feeling of team spirit, doesn't it? It's not just a bunch of individuals hanging out. No, it's a cohesive unit, totally driven by a shared purpose and a real collective identity. That feeling, that's the essence of what a true team is. Now, working in groups, it has incredible potential, for sure. But it also comes with some very, very real risks. Understanding both sides of the coin, the strengths and the limitations, is absolutely the key to unlocking all the good stuff and avoiding the bad. So on the upside, when groups really click, they can achieve this amazing thing called synergy. It's that magical state where the collaborative result is so much better than what any single person could have dreamed up on their own. You get more resources, way more creativity, and a much deeper commitment to the outcome. But then there's the dark side. It can take way more time, and there's often this unspoken pressure to just conform and go with the flow. And of course, we've all seen social loafing in action. That's the official term for when a group member kind of decides to take a back seat and contribute way less than they would if they were working all by themselves. So here's the crucial point. To make a group actually work, we have to understand the invisible forces that are shaping its interactions. These are the dynamics of cohesion, power, and norms that are always at play right under the surface. First up is cohesion. You can think of this as the glue that holds a group together. It's that sense of spirit and closeness, but, and this is a big but, there's a hidden danger here. Too much cohesion can lead to something called groupthink. That's when everyone agrees just to keep the peace, and all that crucial, critical thinking just goes right out the window. Okay, next, let's talk about power. And it's not just about who's officially in charge. Power can actually come from 5 key sources. You've got reward power, which is the ability to give something positive, coercive power to punish, legitimate power, which comes from a formal title, expert power from knowledge, and finally, referent power, which you get just from being well-liked and respected. And that power structure, it shapes absolutely everything. A centralized top-down structure pretty much channels all communication through a single leader. But in contrast, a decentralized structure lets information flow freely between everyone. Now, neither one is inherently better. The right choice always depends on the task you're trying to accomplish. And finally, every group develops norms. These are the unwritten and often totally unspoken rules of the road. They dictate everything, from how we handle disagreements to whether it's okay to show up 5 minutes late. And trust me, they are incredibly powerful in shaping a group's entire culture. All right, now for the payoff. We've diagnosed the problem, we've explored the dynamics, so let's translate all of this theory into a practical, actionable playbook that you can start using to communicate more effectively in any group starting today. To be a constructive part of the group, you need to focus on 3 key areas. First, task communication. That's all about the work itself. Second, procedural communication, which is about organizing how the group gets things done. And third, climate communication. That's all about keeping the atmosphere positive. Your goal is to maximize these 3 and avoid that 4th category, egocentric communication, which, you guessed it, only hurts the team. Now, here's a really critical mindset shift for you. Leadership is not a person or a title. It's a set of actions. Literally anyone in the group can, and frankly should, perform leadership functions, whether that's organizing the agenda, encouraging a quiet member to speak up, or just making sure the discussion stays on track.
And what about conflict? Well, the goal is never to eliminate it. The goal is to make it constructive. See, constructive conflict is about ideas. It pushes the group to find even better solutions. Disruptive conflict, on the other hand, is about people. It becomes competitive and toxic, and it just poisons the group's climate.
Of course, all these dynamics get even more complicated when you're not in the same room. So let's tackle one final challenge that is more relevant today than ever before. How do you communicate in virtual teams? Success in a virtual environment really requires you to be even more deliberate. You have to explicitly set norms, you have to build a shared vision, you have to over-communicate, and you have to stay flexible. These aren't just, helpful tips. They're absolutely essential for making virtual teamwork actually work.
So the next time you find yourself in a group project, remember this explainer. You are not just a passive participant. You have a whole playbook of tools to shape the dynamic, to manage conflict, and to steer that group toward real collaboration and success. The only question is, which tool are you going to use first?